Now, to get started with Pandas, there are a couple of things we need to set up. We're going to start with Miniconda. Here it says Miniconda is a free miniature installation of Anaconda distribution that includes only Conda, Python, the packages they both depend on. So if you have a Miniconda set up, so you have Miniconda installed, and then Miniconda shipped with Python, and then there's the command line tool known as Conda. So with Conda, the command line tool, we can install additional Python packages. So if you have Miniconda installed on your machine, you can open up a command prompt or a terminal, regardless of the operating system you are working on, and then you can do Conda install Pandas. We're going to be making use of Matplotlib for our plots and charts. We're going to be making use of Seaborn for the aesthetics of our visualization. We're going to be making use of Jupyter Notebook. And then if you don't have IPython set up yet, the IPython integrated shell, you can install IPython. So with this command, you just press enter, and then Conda is going to install these Python libraries on your machine. Now this isn't going to work for me because I don't have Miniconda installed, so I'm not going to press enter. But if you have Miniconda installed on your machine, you can go ahead and press enter, and then this will install all these additional packages. Okay, so that's one. Another option is to use Anaconda distribution. So here it says install Python, Jupyter, and thousands of data science packages in one step. So if you're going with this option, you're going to have to download the installer. I think you have to register an account with an email. So once you register, you'll be able to download the installer, and then you run the installer on your machine. So if you have an Anaconda successfully installed, you have Python, you have all of these Python libraries installed already, so you don't have to go through this command. Now, if you're like me, who likes to get into the bolts and nuts of things, once you have Python installed on your machine, Python gives us pip, which is a Python package manager. So you can just do pip install Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Jupyter Notebook, like this. What else? Okay, if you don't have the IPython integrated shell, you can just install the IPython as well. So once you enter this command, you just press enter, and then pip will install these Python packages on your machine. So that's that for the installation process. And then if you wish to read more about these packages, you can just go online and read more, like Matplotlib. It says Matplotlib is a comprehensive library for creating static, animated, and interactive visualizations in Python. For Seaborn, you can also read more about Seaborn. Seaborn is a Python data visualization library based on Matplotlib. It provides a high-level interface for drawing attractive and informative statistical graphics. What else again? Jupyter Notebook. You can read more about Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so Jupyter Notebook is a web-based interactive computing platform. Okay, so you can read more about all of these Python packages. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this command from my terminal. I'm going to run Jupyter Notebook. So when I press enter now, this is going to start a running process, otherwise known as a kernel, and then it's going to boot up Jupyter Notebook in my default web browser. It's going to host it through a local host running on, I think, port 8888. So another thing is when we work with Jupyter Notebook, it's important we keep this kernel running, because for our Jupyter Notebook to run, we need is a kernel running. So it's booting up a Jupyter Notebook inside Safari. Safari is my default browser, so you see the local host, and then it's going to take a minute. Now we have a Jupyter Notebook, and then we have all these folders inside my machine. Okay, so now we have these folders. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new IPython notebook so that we can play with some pandas. We can play with some Python code. Now I'm going to do it inside documents. I'm in my home directory. I could have done it here as well, but then see, I have one here already, but then I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go to document. So if you're on Windows as well, you can just go to document, and inside documents, now I have a data folder here in my document folder. This data contains a CSV file which I'm going to use for demonstration in this tutorial. So in any case, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new IPython notebook. So I'm going to do new. I'm going to select Python 3, and then so it says untitled. So I'm going to rename. Make sure this is selected, and then you press rename. And now we can rename this. Let me just call this playground for the sake of this tutorial. So now we have this. Now I'm going to open this IPython notebook by clicking on it. So it's going to open. Okay, so it's asking me to select a kernel. I'm going to select this Python 3. So select. Okay, so now we have our playground Jupyter notebook, and then we can write our code inside these cells, and then we can run it as we like. Now my kernel is still running. It's important to remember this and keep it running while we work on our IPython on our Jupyter notebook. So come in, just okay, full screen. Now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import pandas as PD. So that's the alias we're going to be using, and then we're going to need numpy as well. So we can do numpy as np, and then I can check for the version of pandas that I've installed by using this, and then I can run this display icon. So this is going to run, says run this cell in advance. So if I run this, so it says I'm running pandas version 2.3.2. okay, now this data that I have, I need to make use of this data. Maybe let me open it in Visual Studio Code. Coming. So while Visual Studio Code is loading, okay, so sorry about this. I'm gonna open a new Visual Studio Code window. Okay, let's go back to Jupyter Notebook, and then here I can do data, because PD does read CSV. So that's CSV is read CSV is a Pandas namespace. So I'm gonna do data, and I think the name of the CSV file is US Presidents.Specifically. I'm gonna load it in here too. Okay, so this is it. So this is what we have here. So this is our data, our CSV file. So you can see it has labels such as number, name, age, height in centimeter, years of service, and shoe size. So you have a list of US presidents numbering 47, and then we have all those data about this US president. The one I'm particularly about is the height in centimeter. So that's what I'm trying to use in my demonstration. So I'm going to go back here. You see, I'm just doing data, then US president in CSV, because I'm inside document folder, and this data is inside my document folder, which is my working directory. So I can just load it like this. All right. Now we can create an array from our data. So I'm going to np.array, and then I'm going to pass this data in. Then I'm going to use subscript operator. The column I'm looking for, or is it the label now, is height in centimeter. So it has this label height _ centimeter. So I'm just going to pass it in here, height _ centimeter. So once I've read my CSV file, which this variable is pointing to, then I can get the height in centimeter from that data using np.array. Okay, so having done that, we can do print height just to see whether we successfully created our array. So I'm going to click this. So now we have an array of heights. So this comprises the height of all the US presidents, all the 47 US presidents, well, according to the internet anyway. So what can we do here? To get a glimpse of what we have in our data, since we've read the CSV file and then we are pointing this data variable to it, we can do data dot head. So this is going to print the first 5 rows of our data. So if I run this, okay, so let me just take this to full screen. So now we have the first 5 rows inside our data. George Washington, age 57, height 188 centimeter, John Adams, and the likes like that. Okay, so having done that, let's do more. Let's see what we can achieve from our data. We can do print, say we want to do for mean height. So for mean height, we can do height dot mean. So we can use this method to get our mean. Remember, height is a numpy array, so you can think of mean as a numpy namespace. And then another thing we can do for, I don't know, standard deviation. Standard deviation. So we can do height.std like that. We can do print. What else? Let's say maximum height, and then we can do height.max. We can also do for minimum height, print minimum height, and then let's go and do height.min like that. I think that's enough for this, and then let's run this. Okay, so we have mean height 180.23 blah blah, and then standard deviation, maximum height, minimum height. I think maximum height would be Abraham Lincoln if I'm not mistaken. What else can we do? Let's try for percentile. We can do print. Say we want to print the 25th percentile. So for this we can do np.percentile. So we're using pandas. Remember, we're using numpy namespace here. Remember, pandas is built on top of pandas. So we pass height here, and then we pass the percentile, which is 25 in this case. What else can we do? Let's do the 75th. Okay, we've not done for median. Let's do median height, and then for median height we can do np.median, and then we just pass the height in there. You can also do for 75th percentile. So 75th percentile. Okay, so that's going to be np.percentile, and then we can pass height, and then the percentile 75 like that. Okay, so having done that, let's run this cell and let's see what we get. Okay, so we have 25th percentile, median height, 75th percentile. Now let's try to visualize our data. To do that, I'm going to enter this command, Matplotlib inline. So when we enter this command, we're telling Jupyter Notebook to render the visualization of our data inside our Jupyter Notebook so that a new window doesn't pop up to do that for us. So we're going to render that inside our Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so having done that, we have to import Matplotlib. Then we need a namespace pyplot, and then alias as plt like that. So okay, let me go up here. All right, and then we need cbon as well, so we import cbon, and then we can set cbon.set. So this gets our cbon ready to render the aesthetics, to handle the aesthetics of our Matplotlib plot or chart. We're going to be using plot here, I think. So the next thing for us to do is to specify the type of visualization we want. So we want a histogram, so we can do plt.histogram, and then here we can pass the data that we're using, which is height. Okay, now the next thing we can do is to do plt.title. That's the title of our histogram. I'm just going to keep this simple. US President heights. Okay, then let's label our x-axis. We can call that heights in centimeter. Now we can also label our y-axis, y.label, y-label. Okay, so PLC the y-label, and then let's just call these numbers. Okay, let's just call that number. Okay, so fingers crossed. Let's see whether this generates a histogram for us. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to run this cell. Okay, so we have our histogram. So it says US President height, which is a title. Our x-axis has the label height in centimeter, and then on the y-axis we have number. Then we have our histogram here. Okay. There are a couple of other things we could do with our data, but this is just an introduction into Pandas. So I'm just going to leave it at this, and then I'll see you guys on the other side when we start exploring Pandas. So guys, please like, share, and subscribe, and then I'll see you the next video.